come on, my
keep
love.
going.
You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.
And I found, I mean, it's a simple no-brainer that they wanted y'all to be distracted so much that y'all thought that the virus started on the ship. Man, that virus been here, man.
I mean, it's
If you got a Lysol bottle, you look on your Lysol bottle, and one of the things that it says that they get rid of is Hunter virus.
Yeah.
It's been here.
Yeah, it's not a new thing. It's just
So but that's the same shuffle I'm talking about.
Mhm.
It's to get you to think that this just not happening. No, it's been going on. This is not no new turn thing. This is an ongoing thing. It starts in Mississippi, then it branches off into other places.
so yeah, you're 100% right. No, you're fine. You're fine. You're 100% right. I mean, I think that's why what we talk about every day is so important because you're talking about something that's happening, and I think it stinks that I'm trying to catch you in there too, KP. I think it stinks that what we're dealing with, and I think you hit on something way bigger when you talk about the national level. What happens in Mississippi happens everywhere. That's I can't just skip over that.
Oh, yeah.
That's and I always say Joe Biden came into Eastman and to other folks from the South to understand how to handle busing in the North. When I say busing, meaning having to let their children go on buses with black kids, right? So when the young man says, this is a situation of, if you unravel the racism in the South, then it will unravel throughout these whole United States is 100% correct. And I heard that from a white gentleman as well. I mean, not that validates anything. I'm just saying I think that everyone is aware of that. Because a lot of folks don't like racism, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of, it's counterproductive to a lot of things. It's just a lot of fear out there. But I think that as we were talking about before, I think that the national that you all are talking about, I think it mirrors a lot of times the local that we're going through here.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate, but it does.
Yeah.
You would hope you weren't in that type of situation where it's mirroring that, but
So would you say that it has to start off as like a prototype, like it has to start off as something you got to like work on first for it to even go global? Like,
but it's just what are you about to say? It's just understanding.
Sometimes Mississippi seems like a training ground.
yeah, training ground.
Except for what policies that the far right can get to pass. If it gets through Mississippi and we allow it to happen, it'll pretty much go anywhere. It seems like there's been several examples of that. The abortion ban. Basically, this is always right thing because they tried to do it first before it was ruled on by the Supreme Court. Cindy Hyde-Smith was already pushing for that.
So you had Cindy Hyde-Smith pushing for while we have, and this is where you connect the national to local, where our local people are actually in step with the people that are hurting us the most. So you had Cindy Hyde-Smith. If you were looking from outside of Mississippi and you saw a picture of Hillman Frazier, one of the oldest black senators or longer-term senators in the state, you would assume a white woman in Senate or in legislation he's hugged up with is doing something good for our people, right? So if you saw the chief of the police, Chief Brackney, hugged up, you would assume the person she's hugged up with. We've always said she may not know who she's hugged up with, and maybe she does. I don't know that. I don't know that everyone outside of Mississippi understands Lynn Fitch. You understand? She had the little national moment where she said that she was. What did she say? She wanted to attend a lynching, front row at a lynching. But outside of that, who else was that? John, one of those three. Okay, so you see that it legitimizes that things are okay here. First off, that's the biggest problem that I have with that. That legitimizes that. And at the time, all three of these people were close to this person. She had already attempted voluntarily before this Louisiana ruling came. She had already tried to roll it back herself manually. So I wrote it down myself here in Mississippi. So it's not, you're not talking about someone that just went to a private white institution 40, 50 years ago. You're talking about someone that a year ago, not even tried to roll back voting rights. Yeah. And has been very avid at doing that. And
about Shonda Yates and Lynn Fitch.
Well, I was just speaking about Lynn Fitch. Shonda Yates is she's a little more active in trying to take away the power of the the people. I hate to say it that way, but of the masses in Jackson. She's very adept at writing legislation along with Trey Lamar that tries to try to just trick and dwindle. They get with people. I believe like Kenneth Stokes, and when I say get with them, I mean Kenneth Stokes made a lot of calls towards Capitol Police, asking for help, and instead of asking for Jackson Police to get funded, which is the right thing to do, right? Because the state underfunds Jackson, and that's the first thing any political representative of Jackson should be asking for is our due first, before they ever ask for someone else to come and help. Especially not after you told people to throw bricks at police. Now you're asking Capitol Police to come in and help, and then Kenny Stokes held the the meeting with Capitol Police, called them in, they started killing and hurting people. Yeah. Then he called me and said, "I don't think you know how to talk to the people." I don't think Jalen Lewis's mother, respectfully, is worried about how Capitol Police is talking to people. I don't think the woman that was sitting on her couch and got shot is worried about how Capitol Police is talking to people. I don't think the woman that got shot in the head at a traffic stop is where. I don't think the person that man banged his head into the ground, into the car over and over again, Matthew, whatever. I don't think these victims are worried about how they're being talked to. And you love to try to make it something that's sensitive. Oh well, and so that's again. I mean, and Stokes in that moment was minimizing the damage that Capitol Police was doing. So I think the first thing, KP, to your point, and I'm not running from it, is the first step is just understanding. You know, understanding that the people getting in front of you, what they're really doing. So if you're thinking, and then you got to just push this point. So you have a platform like ours, and you see, like you always point to, you see folks in the community standing up strong. I just saw somebody going back and forth with him again, with Kenneth Stokes again, of course, from his ward now. We're talking politics about what we see, not about what we feel about someone. We're talking about what Ward 3 constituents are overwhelmingly saying about what they feel about representation for over 30 years. But you see it happening again in there. And again, you don't see any help for these folks. You don't see anyone standing up and stopping it. You don't see anyone pushing against it. And then you realize that when people make jokes, to your point, Rita Brent, it'll go on TikTok, and you'll see people from other states be like, "Oh, he's just like the other guy." Ha ha ha.
Super Tom, Mississippi.
Yeah. Super. There's nothing funny about it. At a certain point, it doesn't matter whether your job is comedy or not. Everybody's going to get bothered if you start laughing at something happening to them actively, right? Especially if they just realize what's happening, they can't stop. That's the difference here, is that I think that we're in a much more beneficial place because we can stop it. If we run 83% black, you have to understand, you can't start roping people up and lynching them up. And I really mean it. That's the only thing that can stop a self-sufficient people, is if you use physical violence to stop us from progressing. And right now, you don't have that option anymore. White supremacy looks a lot better now, and I know people don't like hearing this, but white supremacy looks a lot better now than it did in 1919. It's our togetherness that's splintered in a way that it wasn't in 1919. That's what's changed. If we were at the same place we were then in terms of but that's what they worked on over 30 years. Yeah. And that's why I keep calling out all of you social media commenters, all of you people posting fights between black people, between black women, between black men, and you post it, and then you got the nerve with your niggerish is a word, that's actually have to dig in, with your niggerish self to actually then sit there with your face on and asking, what's wrong with our people? You? Because you got time on your hand. You can be going to help some young people. I don't know what those people are going through. You took the time to sit down in front of here, show your people in their most vulnerable moment, and they got the nerve to sit up there in front of people and ask what's wrong with our people. You're what's wrong with our people. So if you've ever sat out there and shot that content and think you're helping, you're not. You're the niggerish one. You're the problem. You're the embarrassment. Because if you think we're the only ones running into problems in this day and age, running into mental issues in this day and age, running into the oppression and the weight of everything falling on us, you're a fool. Just because someone can do it in a nice house instead of in a project, that don't make them any better. They both going through what they're going through. But you want to sit up there and repost things at our most vulnerable moments, but you don't post one moment of togetherness. And it happens in our neighborhoods all the time. You disappear when a barbecue happens, or when people buy book bags or do cookouts, or when you see an older dude get in front of two young dudes and talk to them, and it doesn't turn to something else. You're not there for that, even though you see it. You probably turn your phone off. Oh, nothing to see here. No world, no posting. One time I saw a brother post, I think it was Philly or somewhere else, where a brother posted some young people about to get into a fight, and then another brother jumped in between them and started talking to them, had a little bit of respect, from being out there, and they posted that. It's disgusting with these plantation Democrats here. You got actual violence interrupters in Mississippi and Jackson that can literally know these young people, can go out there, and the mayor, the city council, they refuse to pay any attention to defund them. But they can take $2.9 million from small homes for homeless people, and they can give that to a consulting agency called Clutch. You know the name of our show. Make it make sense. And so I think that from a national standpoint, you have Donald Trump and you have the Republicans that are draining the U.S. economy by war. Yep. They're draining them of any camaraderie in our communities and in our country by just stoking racism in a way that I probably, you probably haven't seen since, I don't even know who you would say.
In my life.
I don't think it's anyone that we've witnessed.
No.
But you have, that's not something new to us. And this is where I think our corner turned, and then we can kind of open it up. And it's Monday. I know we headline on Monday, but 601-948-5950, jump in. But right now, I think what's different is us recognizing who inside the house is making the call. Because I don't think we really panic at this moment. And I think a lot of folks want us to panic. And I hope you're not ignorant enough to believe we don't study our history and our children of our history and children of our history, literally. We come from the loins of those that went through the issues we're talking about. So I hope you don't mistake that by us saying, why would we panic in 2026 with as many rights as we have if we didn't panic then?
We've been here before.
We've been here before twice, thrice, if not more times. And the difference now is that, to KP's point, it might be over soon. When your own people are leading you, and when you listen to that last year of Dr. King's life and you listen to the speeches that he gave, and you realize that a lot of these Negroes out here, your leaders right here in Mississippi and South Carolina, all the way up to Maine, they're lying sons of guns when they talk about how much they love King, because his approval rate was at 19%, 20% the last year of his life. And people stayed away from him like he was a Quran. But now you hear all these people talking about, well, you loved him when he was saying kumbaya and allowing you to keep filling your coffers with money, selling that hope. But the moment he reached that last year and said, man, this is ridiculous. We need to get some weapons. Essentially, the voice, the movement, the way he was talking about a rebellion and recognizing he was in the middle of having been tricked by those that handled him. And that's why I think it's so important to point out the Jewish and Black nature of NAACP leadership. So you understand when one of our people have been handled and then just start to learn from it. You don't want to have hate in your heart. You don't want to have, you just learn. We survived too much hate ourselves to use that as a way to get back because it doesn't work. Instead, you just learn from what's being done to you. You look at the NAACP and you say, well, who would have wanted the South to be, or who would have wanted America to be segregated so bad? Because if you really look at it during that time, we're in Mississippi, let's talk about it. And 601-948-5950. You make certain claims, you want an older person to be able to call in and say that's right or wrong. If you ask folks back then, a lot of folks didn't believe that was the right way to go in the Black community. I don't understand why folks think it's so hard to talk about that. A lot of folks thought integration was a no. Some folks, like my grandfather, did not want anything to do with anyone white at all. There was just too much pain. He just did not. He wanted to be separated, and he just did not. There were some folks that wanted to deal with them just from an economic standpoint. Yes, let's deal with them from a business standpoint. Them are those who wanted to integrate their lives with them. We want to sit down. We want to go. You've got to ask yourself, who did that benefit? It used to be a sign that said no Jews, no Negroes, no dogs. That sign shifted. You may have saw Spanish or Mexican coming in, no dogs, no Jews. But you got to look at these collaborations not from a hate perspective, from a perspective of, listen, if me and KP both go to the store and put in $2 and he got 5 bananas and I had 1, I'm going to try to figure out what I can do better next time so we can have equal amount of bananas when we buy stuff from the store.
Right.
That's what we have to do with a lot of this stuff. And I think that right now in Jackson and in Mississippi and in America, turning the curve is just understanding everywhere what's happening. You got a lot of folks that are focusing on a lot of stuff in our community, claiming to be our leaders, and it's just not us. It's just not us. So I mean, therefore, they're national leaders, but there's a certain amount of it that's up to us to put our local candidates up and let national. I don't get mad at a national leader when they say I'm dealing with immigration, I'm dealing with Palestine, I'm dealing with Black people, and they're Black. But that's the job they signed up for. I'm looking for that local person that said, I'm in Ward 3, I'm Ward 5, Vernon Hawley, and I signed up to take care of these people in Ward 5. But people in Ward 5 aren't being cared for. Mm-hmm. That person in the nation has to deal with a lot more than Ward 5 and other issues.
Well, that make sense to you now.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm enjoying the show. I have a question just on everything that's being said right now. Is it a Republican Democrat issue or is it a Black-white issue, or is it both? Because we've elected, we favored the Democrats over the last couple of decades at least. Mm-hmm. But I'm not changed for the better. They're changing, but they're changing for the worse. So where do we need to focus our energy at this point? That's just a question, and anybody that's listening to probably can call in and provide some feedback, but I just want to pose that question.
I think that's an excellent question, my brother. We appreciate you for listening as well.
So if I understand the question, what exactly?
I feel like he's saying, so we've aligned ourselves as an African American population to the Democratic vote overwhelmingly. And he's saying we haven't, made progress. Is this a problem with supporting the wrong party? And so you call back in if I get this wrong, but is this a problem or lack of progress with supporting the wrong party? Is this a racial issue that's causing the hindrance, meaning no matter who we support, is it going to be a problem because of the racial complications that exist, if you want to call it that?
All the above.
Yeah. Of course, you're right with the impact is there. I mean, and I welcome you callers to call in and jump in. I think you don't know. When you find out that from Dr. Martin Luther King to Barack Obama, your politicians have been doing nothing but wearing nice suits, a lot of them, and looking good, you don't know, my brother. And I'm not one to give you falsehood. I'm one to give you truth. So I'm going to take another call and then go deeper into it. But how do we know if the process has never been done purely from our side?
Well, that makes sense, Carl. You on there?
Hey, how you doing? I hate to call in and interrupt the conversation, but I heard the gentleman speak to the issue of somebody stating that they were embarrassed by something that black people were doing. And I'm also embarrassed, but I'm embarrassed by black leadership.
Yeah, you're right on page.
About a young man that has not been given the opportunity and given the support and given the direction he needs, and been marginalized and disenfranchised.
That's right.
So if we're embarrassed, we need to get embarrassed by those who say that they are advocates for us. And we see the condition we in. I got one more thing to say, and I'm gonna close with this issue. All the things that are happening now, I'm gonna believe that it's a move of God and it needs to happen. So we can change.
Yeah.
And our eyes can come up, and we can come up with plantation. Y'all have a good day.
Yes, sir, my brother. We appreciate you calling. Unpack that, KP? What you think?
He basically carried what we said, that he's also embarrassed about so-called black leaders in Jackson that's supposed to be, doing, as you said, is a certain value.
Makes me smile to hear that call. Listen, that was a Monday warmer right there. Yes. When that go ahead.
Okay,
I'm saying no.
But he basically just said what he was saying, like, we got to come off the plantation with it. I mean, at what point, do you come off your plantation? It's some people already left their plantation,
Yeah.
What's going to make you leave yours?
I think you want to say that too. Go ahead, my brother.
Call me, sir.
Yes, first you did restate my question properly. I appreciate it. And the brother who responded, all of the above, yeah, it is that, but and just like the last caller says, it's going to take an act of God, and maybe the other one is that word, but God got to be in it. But we can say that and all these things sound good, but we'll keep doing the same thing. And I just take one political position in particular, and this is I'm not advocating for one person or another in the campaign, the upcoming elections, but we have one person in particular that's been in that represented our district for over, 16 terms, and I just don't understand how we continue to do this thing. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, stay right there, brother. I think, and I'd like you to stay with me for that. I think that you've reached the right platform for that question. And I think not only have you reached the right platform, it's something that the young man and I and our producer have exhaustively gone through. One, you're hitting the exact mark on what I believe what's preventing our progress, first off. I think that let me not just tell you what I think. Coming from this movement, from our people, I know we're strong enough given people that are really doing what they said they're doing and not snakes. I know we're strong enough to have gained more from this political process than we've gained. And listen, it doesn't matter whether you were back then, it didn't matter if you were Thurgood Marshall or whether you were working on street protests. You all had the same thought in mind. So I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. If you love yourself and if you love your people, then that would come first before anything else. And I'm talking about our leaders now. So I think you're hitting it right on the head. And let's use this locally. I don't think we've got to keep reaching into this basket of unknown. Mayor John Horn is a Democrat who only collaborates with Republicans when it comes to business policy. See, we don't say that out loud. So we do these these things where we move around it. Well, do we think it's? We've got a Democrat who on his staff, he has William Herring, who's the son of the woman that helped overturn abortion. It's just not a very Democratic stance. He has Gabriel Prado, who his favorite memory is flying around the world with Holzman and Tate. These are the people that you have in there. He's got folks that have continuously hurt the city from every angle. He's got Surinder Singh, who's called black men worth a six-pack. Their lives are worth a six-pack. Not anymore. And I can't, so you're hitting it right on the head. Our people's problem is we like to nip it, tuck it, and then as soon as it rears its face, we like to walk away and go to church or go to the mosque or go to our parents' house or go to a barbecue. And we've got to put these folks on the wall, and I'm being proverbially speaking, and we've got to choke them until there's no air left. And again, I'm speaking analogies. We've got to stop this siphon of air that allows them to keep getting reelected and move through the city safely. And when I say safely, I mean without any retribution vocally. You shouldn't be able to walk into Stamps Burgers and eat a burger more than 30 years. You shouldn't be able to be Mayor John Horn and take money from Chip from Parks Properties who build slums. And we all know it, and we're okay with that. And folks, oh, that's just John. That's how he's always been. What's how he's always been? Well, then don't you say one thing about these young gangbangers who start shooting with a switch because they're just trying to hit their op. You hitting everybody, Mr. Horn. So you're 100% correct that this is about our leadership. We don't know whether it's Republican and Democrat because folks haven't done what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and it's almost like the people are under the spell because regardless of how bad things are and how bad things continue to become or get, we keep on doing the same thing regardless. I don't care how much we talk about it. So I appreciate y'all, having the show that y'all have. I do believe, and maybe I'm naive, but I do believe there are prestigious people that are waking up. And I know the things that we would like to see, the thing that happened overnight. But as long as you guys are doing shows like this, and any other person that's out there doing shows like this, I think we'll eventually see the change. I would love to see it tomorrow and overnight, but it's a process. I understand that. But keep doing what y'all doing.
Well, we appreciate you, my brother. You keep calling in too. And I just tell you this, man, a fire can be a process or it can come from a spark. So I don't believe that there's that a saying goes along with a revolution. A thought revolution is much different than a physical revolution because a thought revolution encompasses everything else and it allows you to think what the best step is, not be forced to use another means. And thankfully, at 83% of the population here in Jackson, maybe 62% minus the coonery and the plantation Democrats, and I'm just being honest, at 60% of the population, if we reach out and continue to touch those people that make up that population, not the people they want to see in that population. And that's these folks that don't know the difference between necktie and a noose. Shout out to the late Mayor Lumumba. You move them out the way, and you start putting some folks in there that just have genuineness and purity in their heart, and they'll learn. You take the young man and you put him in a position of power that he loves the city, has connections throughout the city. He's going to be much more likely to do right by that city, even if there's a learning curve to it. And that young man represents hundreds, if not thousands of young Jacksonians that are standing there ready to fill in. You don't need someone that sounds good, speaks smooth. That's what you need for an instant revolution sometimes. You need somebody that's just going to press the point, pin people against the wall. And I'm happy to do that in the name of progress for my people, because those that came before us did a lot worse, went through a lot worse. But the young people sitting in your city, sitting in front of you, you keep believing this white lie, this birth of a nation fable. Every time you see a black male or a black female that doesn't fit what you think they should fit, you think something bad's about to happen, and it's okay that you think that. That's not the problem. What you tell your child when they fall down? It's okay you fall down, right? But get back up. Don't keep doing that crying. But you're a coward, you know what, ain't doing the same thing. It's okay to be afraid of your children. It's just not okay to stay afraid of your children. You got to do something. If you'll walk into a job and not know how to deal with all white people that don't want you there, then for the love of God, you can walk into a neighborhood and hope that somebody's not going to pull out a gun and shoot you. And you ain't heard one story of a woman walking through, or a man walking through a neighborhood to help, got shot in the head. But you heard plenty of stories of black people going into white jobs and things bad happening to them.
Well, that makes sense.
Make sense.
What the mic must call? Hey, I got a question, I'm not pushing back on what you're saying, but what role do the people play? Because, we go through different administrations, mayors, and elected officials, but the people remain down and broke and poor. And you can look at recognition all over America, throughout any city. And so we let the good leaders before and we let the poor leaders before. But our conditions say the same.
Yes, sir.
And what do we do? What do the people do?
Stop electing leaders. Stop electing leaders. I can talk to you on the phone about that, brother. We ready, but stop electing leaders.
100% everything.
Yeah, we don't need leaders. And I ain't doing a job talking about stop electing leaders. Now, I'm not telling you stop voting. Please be very clear on what we're saying. You're not a leader because you're running for a position. You don't speak for us because you're running for a position. We put you in that position to speak for us, and we'll tell you what we feel.
Yeah.
That's called smart voting. Yes, it's on us as a people. We're just not going to punch down here and say that our people are doing a dirty thing. You can only work with what you know. Now, if you tell me you should know better, you'll do better. I accept that, brother. Then let's get to know better as a community. And if you listen to this show, we tell a hell of a lot. We do a lot of information telling, my brother, where we're just trying to give you as much as we can give you so you can make a better decision and do better because now you know better. I don't know anyone that knows the pit bulls in the yard just going to keep going in that yard. Our people aren't stupid, and that's what you know what? That's what some of our people, and some of our family members and uncles at Thanksgiving, we had this argument there on the cheat of saying this. What you really want to say is some of our people are stupid, but you can't say it because you know in your heart it's not true. You just wish everybody else had got the opportunities you got, but that's not how it works, buddy. That's not how this system works for black folks here. A few get the opportunity, and the rest get the burden. Pull your big boy pants up, pull your big girl pants up, and deal with it. That's how this country works, especially in the Deep South. So when you feel like talking about what you've done nothing. You've done very little if you just took advantage of an opportunity given. That's not making an opportunity. You didn't get your town burnt down. You didn't have your child killed in front of you, and now you got to continue to sharecrop and make enough money to feed the rest of them. You didn't get beat by iron pipe. You didn't get shot down in your driveway. So first, let's us as black people stop taking this platform like we've done something great because you survived and someone gave you a chance.
You get 7 years thrown over your head.
Because you tried to stand up. I've been a hiring manager. I watched the siphon. Go tell that to somebody else. You didn't get in there because of your greatness over your black brother or sister. You got in there because every step of the way, your mother or your father or whoever was there fought to give you a chance. And guess what? When all this money comes into the city and it's underrated and it's supposed to be $3 million, it's only 300,000. Guess what? Then 30 kids get helped instead of 300. God, don't you be one of them 30 kids and get up there talking and running your mouth once you make it. That's not how this country works. We're not talking about people that do something wrong and get held accountable for their crimes. We're talking about how the country works. Turn your radio down before it's going.
Okay. Yeah, okay. What I was saying though, maybe I wasn't clear. So what role does mama and daddy play and uncle and auntie, the teachers and preachers?
What's different about them than the people? I answered that. I was talking for all of them, my brother. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, I mean, you know.
Let me explain it. Hold on. Back up, brother. Let me explain. Let me answer that a little better. So a mother. You started with a mother. So let me explain to you what I mean. So it's I really am there around the people, right? Where you see two people act pure fool, and you see Diane getting off the bus coming home with their food wrapped up in bags. I'm not going to talk to the two only, my brother. I'm going to talk to all 11. So 9 of their mothers are not getting anything that they need. They're not getting any prenatal, postnatal care. They're not getting anything that these leaders are saying they're giving them. So if you're going to ask me, what do they need to do? First, they need to understand what they're not getting. And then demand that or remove those people out of office and get somebody in there that's going to give them what they need. That's the first thing.
Yeah, I understand that. But I'm saying I don't want to be dependent on what the mayor can do for us, though. What I'm getting at is something because we go through mayors every 4 years and elected officials, but our condition remains the same. And it has been the last 40 years.
Well, why is our condition remaining the same?
Well, I mean, whatever it is, we
no, whatever it is, this is what the show's about. You got the platform. Let's talk about it. Why is it remaining the same, do you think? You've been voting. You sound like a brother my age, 40 to 50. What have you seen over the last 30 years that make you think it? Why do you think we're still here? I got thoughts, but you tell us.
What I'm saying, we got to do something. We can't sit around expecting the mayor and the governor and the people to come and bail us out.
Well, if you don't even know what you've been, hold on, time out, back up. We don't push through on this show, my brother. If you don't even know what you've been through, then brother, give me $20. I'll give it back to you Tuesday. So what do you think got us here, my brother? You're not 12. You're not 20. Talk to us.
No.
What do you think in our representation got us here?
Okay, you talk about hang up and I'll listen, man. Thank
you. Okay, bro, no problem. Next caller, call in. Hey, listen, this ain't that platform for that. I'm asking you to speak and tell us, but don't come on here and just pontificate and speak about what we need. And no, man, that's for after school specials. This is not that. You got the voice. We answer the calls over and over again, and we say your platform. How do you think we got here? Listen, this show we said at the beginning is about finding out the heartburn that's ailing Jackson and Mississippi and our people as a whole. We're not interested in anyone telling us what's the medicine to take. Stop talking about what you ate. What's the man, brother? Unfortunately, that's what you're saying. Every time we try to go to how we got here, so we can learn, and you ask the question, how do we get better? But you don't want to know how we got bad. You don't want to know how we got sick, but you want to know how to get better. Well, I'm not interested in that conversation. Maybe another caller can call in and have that. But if you don't want to understand how you got sick, you're not going to understand how you got better.
My take on it is, if you want to understand how we got sick, you should be the one to step up to understand. You should be the one to step up to prevent other sicknesses.
There we go. If that brother had led this, listen, if that brother had led, brother, I'll open the line. I don't never do that when we start talking and don't give you the ability to respond. If that brother had led this call with, listen, I'm out here in Georgetown, and as I help these young people, listen, I'm out here doing, as I run into this, okay, you know, at that point, you're already talking about what the response is. Now you're saying, what can we do better? But to just say, what about the mommies and daddies? Who starts with the mothers and fathers? Okay. I think that's why we're in the position we're in. And I love my callers, and I'll always let you all call back in. But I think our callers help us understand more why we're in the position we're in than the people we think are why we're in the position we're in. Sometimes we think it's the people we see hanging on corners, smoking, drinking, going through the parts of life because they can't deal with the reality of what's they're dealt with, right? And we think they're the problem. No, they're the symptoms. The problems are intelligent brothers and sisters like that, brother, us. We're all accountable, right? They go to jobs, that vote, that sign tax documents, that understand processes. We're the problem when we think that when we have a platform, it's time to talk about mommies and daddies. And you got a black legislative leaders that are walking through millions, hundreds of millions, and you want to know where it's at. You got a white supremacist government in Mississippi. And listen, Mississippi, those of you all that don't believe that, don't act with them. You have a government acting right now towards Jackson, Delta, everywhere else as a white supremacist government, the far-right GOP, and you don't have folks standing up to them. So what's wrong? What's wrong is that we're not standing up for ourselves. I don't know what you expect me to say. Oh, we're black people. You know, we just can't get right. Oh, we just stupid. I don't know what you thought you were going to get from this platform when you asked me what's wrong. I can tell you a million things what's wrong. That we are inferior by any type of DNA capability. It's not going to be one of them, brother. This ain't the platform for that. That we just don't know it ain't the platform. You think I'm stupid? You think I'm stupid. So you think you're going to call this show and ask me why black folks can't get right. And in Mississippi, you think I'm stupid enough to look at the black mothers and fathers, brother. That is the most self-hating comment I've heard in Mississippi yet. With as much recorded suppression as the state's had, with as much as happening right now, as the city is getting raked of all of its resources, you call in and say, what about the mommies and daddies? Man, listen, that is a people, what did the brother Malcolm say? That don't understand their own selves. That is a people that do not understand themselves, and that's not a hateful comment. That's love, because I understand why that. You put that much pressure on people, then sometimes that pressure can make you break, and that pressure can make you punch down just because you made it to shore. But I can hear you, brother. I can hear that you can get something to eat. I can hear that you know where that next light bill's coming from. And if I'm wrong, call me and tell me I'm wrong. And I'm not talking about living in a mansion. I'm not talking about having cars to get around. I'm talking about knowing tomorrow is going to be okay from a basic humanitarian aspect. I'm sorry. We see too many people that don't know that. And if you think we're going to walk into their neighborhood and ask them, well, what's wrong with your mamas and fathers? No, sir. I thought that was going to be a fruitful conversation where we can talk about what these senators have done, what these leading politicians have done. What you talk about the Delta has an appropriation of $500 million at one time. And you want to talk about what mothers and fathers have done? I welcome you.
The conversation still losing me. I'm still trying to understand exactly what he was saying. Like I did hear him say, "What about the mommies and daddies?" But then he went back to say that, well, our black politicians is doing nothing for us. So at somebody, I thought he was gonna get to a point where, like, yeah, I thought he was gonna be like, well, I understand what you're saying because
I'm thinking that
they are the reason that we are here. But I guess he was gonna, I guess he was gonna be like, well, now it's on us. Then he was gonna get to us signing the petition. Then he was gonna get to us voting them out. Then he was gonna get
it's
to
called the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. I mean, 50 years of living, it's just the lowest. And there's nothing wrong with that. Brother's a good brother. He's looking for, hey, listening and calling in. You got to understand the love we have. We have here. It could be tough love, and we take tough love. We listen, we get reprimanded, we change the way we talk to people, we increase it on people. But the lowest hanging fruit is just not it, my people. I let everybody know that the lowest hanging fruit is us. We got to stop reaching for us. That's different than holding us accountable. So you have to understand what the young man said. The first answer is get involved. And that's something, if you listen to the show, we promote people that get involved. We're not going to talk about what we do because that's outside of it. We get involved a hell of a lot. Yeah. Right? We promote everyone else that's getting involved in our neighborhood, not people just talking. Right? But we also have got to make sure that the people understand that when let's give some examples. You know, let's when
Nobody showed to. I mean, well, I said nobody. I'm gonna mess up the whole thing.
you about to hurt people.
Oh, my bad. I often say, well, you know, like you said last time when they were supposed to show up for that water meet, you know, y'all, a lot of y'all called in water bill and you was like, why you didn't show up? You know, we said it over there 1,000 times. But that's what we talking about. Y'all have all these questions and concerns, and y'all worried about everything. But why you ain't get your butt up and come to the meeting? Go to the city council.
From out the mouth of the young people, my brother. That's probably the best response. Yeah. That's probably the best response I could really get. All that talking I did, that is a lot better than that.
You gonna do me like this?
Concise.
You just gonna Kanye me like?
No, man, I'm going you. That was much better than anything. All right. But no, the young man's response to the brother, I think, is better than mine. I withdraw mine and I put his in there. What's the best thing you can do? Show up, because everyone didn't show up at that meeting. We didn't even have many people show up as we have calls in the meeting.
We didn't. I mean,
Yes, we did. We did.
That was like what? I think it was like 40 people from Make It Make Sense. Something like that.
Yeah, we had a lot of people show up from the show.
But man, y'all.
A lot of people show up from the People's Assembly.
Y'all call in and tell us what the next city council meeting is. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. We got to get active.
We got to get active, man.
Yeah,
I know it feels good to talk and be right about stuff, but
yeah, you got to get it. Listen, you got to understand. This is not a labor of love. The young man, our producer, we didn't jump on air one day decide that people gonna like to hear our voice, man. I haven't always been told I should get the radio, but we were in the middle of doing what we're talking about. You have to understand that, and we're still in the middle of it. This has interrupted it slightly, putting our days off. But you have to understand we're doing. And maybe when folks jump on the air, they think we're folks on here talking, and those that have been with us understand it because they see us in the public. That's not our platform. Our platform is to help to lead by example, then to get on here and then back it up with words. So you got a double threat. You got folks that you can't push us over because we out there doing it. You can call out names of people that are helping. We know them. Call out names of people that are helping. We know. Call out names of people that are doing something. We're around them. Yeah. Call out names of people that are helping people in the prisons and your people that are getting hurt. Call out the fact that for the last year and a half, you didn't have a city that has helped any point. As a matter of fact, they just let Blossom get kicked out after 5 days. What organizations have been giving community support? You ever heard of the Community Love Fund? I'm gonna leave it there. You don't even have to say the organizations that are helping. You can just say the ways they've been helped. And you'll see community members, oh, Community Love Fund, I know that organization, blank, 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 helped me out when I needed it. Who was giving water? Who was buying hot food when folks were coming from Louisiana because they were getting no help? Who was putting up in hotels? I'm not even gonna say the name because that's not what they did it for. But understand this, brother, when you call this platform, this is not the platform to call and not understand and not be ready to talk about it. That's all. We want to talk about it, and that's why I said to the brother, there's the platform. Tell us what you think is wrong first. But you can't be defensive because that makes us think you're calling in to derail the progress. And then we're going to lay it out here like that. When you call us, we don't let it go quickly. Because think about this. If you just had a disagreement with what we said or what I said, when I give you that platform, you would have used that platform and spoke about it. You are being asked to answer the question of the show, sir. What do you think has gone wrong in the last 40 years that has stopped our progress as African American people? But you wanted to speak about what we need to do in the future. And that's a kid to show up to a doctor saying, Doc, what am I eating is causing this heartburn? And he says, don't worry about it. I'm going to tell you the type of drug that's going to fix it. We're not interested in that. With all due respect, we want to talk about how we got here so we can understand how not to repeat it. So, I'm not to the disaster, man. My God, no game, my God. But I believe 100% that you're correct. From a disaster, from those ashes, and from the most beautiful society that's ever existed. And I think if we came together, if that was the point I made when I said even at 83%, if 20% of them want to take the high rise and worry about Lake Caroline cameras and Pete Brown golf courses instead of the people, right? The other 60% of us, if we just use this moment to rise together. And that's why, let me tell you this, and I'm going to slow down so we can all kind of talk about some things. That's why you see the detachment from our brothers when they call in sisters. You see the detachment from the average Black experience. It's so evident when they're sitting somewhere where they don't have contact with the Black experience. I'm not saying you didn't ride by a Black person and nod, but you don't have contact with the Black experience. And it's hurting. It's hurting us because one of the trauma effects is run, fight or flight. Nothing wrong with that. Yep. And some of us ran to get away from that trauma. Some of us fought against it, right? And those that ran now are very uncomfortable getting back. Very uncomfortable getting back. Yep. They don't know how to get back because they don't understand in any way, shape, or form what their people are going through. And that, brother, that's why I say we say it with love. But listen, with love, I got to point you out if you're coming in. The problem is our people that are detached. Because when they go and try to figure out why don't we have more votes, it's very hard for you to understand what you're saying. But if your belly's touching your backbone, it's hard for you to understand why folks don't want to vote. You don't even understand who's not eating.
Yep.
Let that sink in. You don't even understand who's not eating every day.
You don't understand? You know,
Yeah.
you think that little feast you got some means, and you know how much food they owe you, you know how much money they owe you, you know how much blood they took from you.
But some of these people are eating very well. And I think that's where a lot of the aggravation comes from, if you really look at it. That's my personal opinion, my brother. And that's why I leave our lines open for reproach. I think the aggravation comes from when we talk about folks that are constantly trying to get you to stop talking about something. But the jig is up at that point. You can't kill a thought. You ever try to shoot a thought with a switch? Doesn't work. You can have 4 switches, you can have a bazooka, you can just lit the whole room up. And afterwards, you're going to hear somebody say, whoever's left is going to be like, I still think you suck. You can't take that. And guess what? Their children will be like, I think you suck. You can't kill a thought. So folks are looking for the revolution, looking for the answer. The answer's right here. You're just afraid to see it, my brothers and sisters. When you call in, you say, well, I mean, it's a Democrat or Republican. You're just afraid of yourself.
It's you.
You're just afraid of yourself. That's all it is. You're afraid that that young black boy you see on the corner with cornrows is staring at you. You're afraid that he can be great because you're afraid of facing what put him in that position. Because then you have to face more than just calling him a YN, don't you? Now you got to face that white supremacist system that put him there, and that's scary.
I don't want to do that.
That's scary, isn't it? Yeah, that's what we do. We say names. We talk about voucher systems. We talk about representatives and governors and lieutenant governors that are hurting you daily. You get scared when you think about that, don't you? It's much easier to call them a YN than to ask why Shonda Yates ain't showed a picture for 5-6 years while she was making decisions. It's much easier to ask why a young black man's pants are sagging than why Charles Tisdale sued the city council when you were young for stealing money and siphoning it to CCI, Capital Caring Corp., who later became Downtown Jackson Partner, who John Horn gave all of the privileges to, and Peter Terwusin, Kevin Parkinson, Crudup, all are on Downtown Jackson Partner, right? If you had some courage in you, you 60-year-old black men that call in and try to punch down, then you would ask the advocate, why aren't you attacking Downtown Jackson Partner like your legend Charles Tisdale did before he passed? Why you ain't ask people from LCLC, why you ain't standing up for Sister Hurricane and attacking John Horn like Sister Hurricane attacked John Horn before cancer took her? Why you ain't asking that, you cowards? But you can talk about a young boy's pants sagging. You got the right ones. Don't make us riled up on a Monday, because that's the best day. We've been sitting on it all weekend. You love to punch down, and I'm the right ones because you come with peace, but it's not peaceful at all. No one that punches down on children and mothers and fathers that at the bottom of the barrel is peaceful. That's a violent action within itself. And you may not recognize it, but it is when you leave everyone else out. You got Downtown Jackson Partners, all these studies we do into what's wrong with our young people. Well, well, who was Downtown Jackson Partners yesterday? Who bought Downtown Jackson Partners into our system? How did business improvement districts come to get such a grasp on downtown? Senator John Horn, 30 years ago, but you're too busy talking about boys' pants sagging, huh, you coward? You're a coward. You're a coward. You let a man come in your community for 30 years and take. The man's affected over $1 billion in stimulus. And 30 years ago, when every one of your grandparents or parents said, we don't want Ferris Street in this business improvement district, we don't want it here. John Horn said, yeah, whatever. I'll sign off on it. And he signed the legislation that bought Downtown Jackson Partners CCI in. 30 years later, he wrapped back around and they put over $500,000 behind him. And your stupid self is sitting up there talking about some damn pants sagging. And then you wonder why we not moving forward as a people because of you. Because you're worrying about some sagging or some mothers and fathers on welfare. You're too stupid to understand what's in front of you. But you're the one they think is smart. You're the one they put the suit on and dress up like a monkey and parade out in front of us as a leader.
His fingerprint, like you said, on everything.
Yeah.
30 years. Man, before that.
When you talk to the big dog first, you can talk to these little puppies just like what they are. See, a lot of people don't talk to these white supremacists the way they need to be talked to, so they can't. So they can't talk to the black white supremacists the way they need to talk to.
There you go.
See, we talk to both of them. We talk to the white supremacists the way they need to be talked to, and we talk to you black white supremacists the way they need to talk to. So this is day one. You can only imagine what this week is about to look like, you all. Reject the lease. We're not going to sit on it, but every day we're going to say to you, every one of you that's listening, if you have not contacted your city councilman and told them to reject that lease, you are failing your city, you are failing your future, you are failing your people. These data centers are coming, and it's going to be millions that are not coming to us. Reject the lease. For my co-host
Yeah, the period.
and my producer, aka Mr. Wilson, we'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. We love you, Jackson. We out. Well.
My mama lied. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.